Welcome to Diagnosing AI, a critical examination of how to evaluate artificial intelligence in clinical practice. The book serves a dual purpose. It warns us against the dangerous temptation to mistake the confident, polished prose of large language models for genuine diagnostic competence, while providing detailed frameworks for evaluating the machine learning systems that actually belong in clinical practice. Language models, the chatbots, exploit our natural tendency to trust confident-sounding sources. In normal human communication, the confidence heuristic works because people tend to express confidence in proportion to their knowledge. Chatbots, however, break this reliable link because their confident tone is a feature of the system's design, not a signal of correctness. To understand why chatbots aren't the right tool for medical diagnosis, we need to place them in the broader context of AI's 7-decade history. AI began in the 1950s, evolving through symbolic reasoning, expert systems, and the first neural network revivals. By the 2000s and 2010s, deep learning and convolutional neural networks achieved expert-level performance in medical imaging, years before chatbots even existed. The transformer architecture emerged in 2017, laying the groundwork for today's language models. Most people remained unaware of earlier AI advancements until ChatGPT was launched in November 2022. The key point is this: AI has over 70 years of history, and specialized medical AI systems were developed and validated long before chatbots captured public attention. So when we evaluate AI for clinical use, we must remember that the right tool for medical diagnosis isn't the most famous, but the one specifically designed and validated for that purpose. The explosive visibility of chatbots has fostered a dangerous misconception that needs to be addressed directly. The problem is that the public now equates AI with chatbots, assuming these language models represent the cutting edge for all applications, including medical diagnosis. The reality is that chatbots are optimized for linguistic tasks like text generation and conversation, while task-specific machine learning models trained for defined diagnostic tasks remain the appropriate choice for medical applications. For example, when chatbots score highly on diagnostic reasoning tests, those scores typically come from text-based clinical vignettes, which is exactly what language models are designed for. They aren't that good at interpreting actual medical images, which is a fundamentally different task. To understand why specialized AI matters, let's trace the focused history of machine learning in radiology, which predates chatbots by decades. In the 1960s and 70s, Lodwick introduced computer-aided diagnosis for chest X-rays, and researchers developed automated feature extraction for cardiac analysis. In 1998, computer-aided mammography received FDA approval, marking a key regulatory milestone for AI in medical imaging. Between 2016 and 2018, deep learning models achieved expert-level performance in diabetic retinopathy screening, skin lesion classification, and chest X-ray interpretation. The key characteristic of these systems is that they are task-specific, trained on thousands to millions of human expert-annotated images for one defined diagnostic task. So while chatbots captured headlines in 2022, validated medical imaging AI had already been helping doctors for decades, and these specialized systems remain the right tool for diagnostic imaging. Understanding this critical distinction is vital because it determines which technology actually belongs in clinical practice. Task-specific medical AI processes images through learned filters optimized to detect specific visual signatures of disease, with its output directly derived from validated visual features. Importantly, the errors of task-specific AI are systematic and discoverable, with quantified sensitivity, specificity, and predictive values that can be characterized and understood. Chatbots, by contrast, generate text that is statistically consistent with expert reports, but they rely on pattern matching to predict what a radiologist might have written, not on genuine understanding of the image. This means chatbots can produce perfectly formatted, professionally worded reports that are entirely wrong, and their errors are unpredictable rather than systematic. The key message is this: Linguistic fluency must never be mistaken for diagnostic competence. The confident prose of a chatbot provides no guarantee of accuracy. The book, Diagnosing AI, provides key insights for evaluating artificial intelligence in clinical practice. First, the book presents a detailed framework for evaluating clinical machine learning systems, spanning from training dynamics through their economic analysis. Second, you'll understand why learning dynamics matter more than final aggregate metrics, because the journey reveals whether a model truly learned or merely memorized. Third, you'll gain knowledge of why class imbalance demands specialized treatment in medical datasets, where the healthy are many and the sick are few. Fourth, you'll develop appreciation for how clinical priorities must fundamentally shape evaluation criteria, because in medicine, not all errors carry equal weight. For example, missing a diagnosis can have far more serious implications than wrongly suggesting a healthy person may have a condition and requiring further testing. Fifth, you'll recognize that confident chatbot prose provides no guarantee of diagnostic accuracy, as we've seen throughout this presentation. And finally, the vital message. In medicine, where the stakes are measured in human welfare, such understanding is not merely desirable, but essential. I am Dr. Milan Toma, Associate Professor of Clinical Sciences at the New York Institute of Technology College of Osteopathic Medicine. And in recent years, our impressive medical students and I have published over 30 peer-reviewed studies on AI in medical diagnostics and healthcare, as well as 2 books on the topic, including the one introduced in this presentation.